The Chicago fans sure talked a lot of trash before this week's game, but for some strange reason, they were dead silent come Monday morning. Funny how that works out, don't you think? We'll be recapping the glorious fourth win in the NFC North over the Bears, complete with some awesome feedback from all of you. All this and more coming up next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Greetings and salutations to you and yours. I'm Wayne Henderson, and it's fantastic to have our Packers currently at 4-0 in the division, all with Micah Parsons being held like he's trapped in a car with a seatbelt that just won't unbuckle.
And I'm Scott Clark with the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and I am delighted, yes, delighted to be talking with you all and my good friend Wayne Henderson on another Victory Monday. The end of the regular season will be here very soon, and it sure feels nice to be on top once again. Here's to hoping it stays that way. Since it's episode 335 of your Packers Fan Podcast, we're going to recap the Packers-Bears and talk about those highlights, and I'll also share some listener feedback as we do every single week.
Oh, yeah, it's going to get a little zesty. Then we will preview Sunday's Packers at Broncos matchup. Glad we finally got an easy game on the schedule. And I'm willing to bet that Scott will share his keys to a Packers victory over the Broncos.
Easy? It's Broncos, man.
I know.
They're doing pretty well.
I know. First place in the AFC. So
yes.
We're going to play up to our competition.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk about this game and especially the leaders in this victory over the Bears. First off, on passing, Jordan Love, 17 for 25 for 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, passer rating of 120.7. Toyotathon continues. I think I saw, was it Kurt Benkert's tweet today that said Toyotathon should go from September till after the Super Bowl.
Right.
I am all for that. That'd be great. On rushing, Josh Jacobs, 20 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, Christian Watson, 4 receptions for 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. And on defense, Edgerrin Cooper, 11 tackles, 5 of them all on his own. Pretty good showing on the defensive side. It's a great game. Great game. But let's talk about those opening drives. First off, we started on defense right away. They let Williams squirt out of the pocket, run for a first down. Thankfully, they were only able to do that because of an offensive hold, making it 3rd and 13. And on that next play, Caleb Story was way over the head of any open receiver, so it turned out to be a 3-and-out after all, which was pretty awesome. I was like, all right, let's do this. Then on offense, Josh Jacobs, it's just so much fun to watch. He's so good at turning 5-yard runs into 9 or 10 yards that I can't even count how many times I've seen him get stopped like he should be tackled, and then he just keeps going. It's amazing. He also converted an impossible-looking 3rd down player on the left edge to keep the drive alive. Awesome. Love how unfortunately was sacked for a huge loss on 2nd down, forcing a 3rd and 17. Very next play, Love throws a pick to Gardner Johnson, missing Matthew Golden by a long shot. Can we get that guy a touchdown already?
Yes.
Just one. Can we just have one?
Please.
That's all we're looking at. So unfortunately, Bears take over on the Green Bay 36. It looked for a minute there that Green Bay forced a fumble and recovered, but the pass was ruled incomplete, and Green Bay did not lose their challenge. So thankfully, Chicago failed to convert on 3rd and 15 and punted, and Green Bay took over on their own 10. So those were the opening drives. Nothing majorly exciting happened. It was definitely a defensive struggle. We actually didn't have any score for the first 2 quarters of this game, which I believe happened last week too, did it not?
I think so. Just getting off to a slow start. Let's not rush things. Of course, I love Packers touchdowns, but got to feel each team out and see what's happening. Green Bay, we finally took our first lead with 9 minutes and 19 seconds left in the first half. And this was a solid, sustained drive. The Packers controlled the time of possession and just kind of wore down the Bears' defense. Love connected with Christian Watson on 3rd, just outside the end zone, and Watson took it the rest of the way in because dude is fast. Beautiful play. Packers lead 7-0, and I'm already feeling good. But that's a habit I have.
It's great to see Watson healthy too. I just get so nervous because he's just so injury prone these last couple seasons, and it's just great seeing him make these plays. And then Bo Melton helped to extend the lead in the closing minute of the first half. Got great starting position thanks to a penalty on the Bears during the kickoff, which started them on the 40. So it looked like Green Bay was just going to try to get close enough for a field goal. Instead, Love threw a dime to Melton right on the goal line to extend the lead. This was a 45-yard touchdown pass. Packers were leading 14-13 at this point. It was great, too, because the Bears had less than a minute to get in field goal range, but Enigbari sacked Williams to make it 2nd and 19, and Chicago just never recovered, so they were not able to score on that next drive. Just great to see.
Oh, for sure. That pass, that 45-yard touchdown pass to Bo Melton was a thing to behold. It'll get your blood going, for sure, as did Christian Watson, who got a second touchdown on the day, this time with 6 minutes and 10 seconds left in the third. It was a short pass from Jordan Love in the middle of the field, but Watson took over, poured on the Rockets, and ran all the way to the end zone for a 41-yard TD score. To me, that's a great answer after the Bears score on the previous drive, where it seemed like Chicago was gaining some momentum. And Scott, we can't have that kind of stuff going on. So touchdown Packers. Christian Watson, as soon as he caught it and made it past that first defender, I knew nobody was going to catch him.
Yeah. He turned on the wheels, and then it just happened. Jacobs did finally find his way into the end zone, and just in time, too. There was about 3:32 left in the game. This drive was an answer to Chicago's previous drive that tied the game. Thanks to a neutral zone infraction penalty on the Bears, the ball was placed half the distance to the goal line, and then a couple plays later, Jacobs punches it in. Thanks to some help from the offensive line, Packers lead again, 28-21.
Good stuff. And the game came all the way down to a 4th and 1 on the Green Bay 14-yard line. Caleb Williams threw one to Calvin Kmet in the end zone, but Nixon picked it off right in front of him to secure the game for Green Bay. Packers just had to kneel on it for one play. It was all over. Packers win 28-21. And fun fact, Coach LaFleur made 2 challenges during this game and won both of them. I think the tide is turning. LaFleur is winning challenges. Toyotathon's in full force. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed. It's really cool that a game ends this way when I have a good friend that I talk with pretty much every day that lives out in the Netherlands that messaged me this morning and said, so looks like he said he didn't say the Packers. He said it looks like we intercepted in the end zone with 22 seconds left in the game and beat the Bears. And I was like, oh, we got another fan out in the Netherlands. So
love it,
Thomas. That one's for you. Even though I don't know if he's listened to this episode, but I love that we have another Packers fan because he did come here and visit. He came to the States to visit one time, and we took him to a Cubs game at Wrigley Field, and he's now a Cubs fan. I'm just glad that did not carry over
to Chicago football. Yeah, that would not be good.
Yeah. So lots of highlights to talk about. Let's talk about some of the lowlights. First off, stupid penalties. There was a face mask in the first quarter, illegal hands to the face in the second, personal foul a couple plays later, putting Chicago into field goal range. Why? I understand how bitter the rivalry is between these two teams, but come on. Thankfully, that those penalties did lead to only a field goal, but still. This is frustrating. Because of those stupid penalties, we gave Chicago 3 points that they just did not deserve. And thankfully, we were still leading 7-3 at that point. But got to get that stuff under control. It was Nixon, wasn't it, that was getting into it with another player, but also that guy grabbed him by the throat.
Yes.
I didn't even see that until I saw a replay. I'm like, it's like when you get in trouble in school, it's whoever reacts is the one that gets in trouble, right? If someone does something to you and you smack the guy, well, the teacher saw that one, so you get in trouble. It seems like what happened here.
That is what happened there. The bear just went up and put his hand on Nixon's throat, and I don't know why, with all the camera angles and all the refs on the field, they didn't see that, and they just see the aftermath. And so, I don't like the penalties, but, if they could be called fairly, that would be nice.
Yeah, you had mentioned through text message about, oh my gosh, Micah Parsons just getting wrapped up in all these holding penalties that were missed, and I didn't see them. And then I saw some replays, and I was like, how is that not a hold? Granted, it did not affect the outcome of this game. We won the game. I'm happy. I just truly don't understand how you look at that, because all eyes have to be on Parsons. He's the fastest one on that defensive line,
right?
And he's in the midst of almost every play. I mean, he had his arm around his neck and gripping onto his jersey. Like, how?
Something like 2 plays in a row, or at least 2 out of 3. It was, even Coach LaFleur in the postgame press conference was like, I don't even know what holding is anymore.
Yeah.
He's given up for now. Another lowlight, mid-game, Green Bay let Chicago answer a little too quickly at the midpoint of the third quarter. This one really caught attention because it was a solid drive by the Bears, which I hate to say, and the Packers temporarily forgot how to tackle, and Chicago even went for it for 2, the conversion after the touchdown, and were successful to, lessen the gap. We were ahead 14-11, but only being up by 3 was not where I wanted to be in the third quarter.
And then the defense allowed the Bears to tie the game with 8 minutes left in the game. This was an 83-yard drive for a touchdown pass score. The defense just looked absolutely gassed at this point. It just kind of like they had given up. They just were trying to chew up the clock, if nothing else. And unfortunately, this did tie the game 21-21. But as I mentioned earlier, Pat came back, had that awesome pass to Christian Watson, put them in the lead, and that was the final stamp. That was the final time that there was any score in the game, as Green Bay, clearly took over and kept them from tying the game in the end. It was awesome.
Indeed. And I think it's a case of our offense was doing very well at scoring touchdowns when it needed to, but a couple of them, the drives just went way too fast, and the defense is like, really? I appreciate the touchdown, but okay, we're back out there again. So hopefully that does not happen the rest of this season. So let's check in with the weekly poll question. I posted in the Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on X at Packers Fan Pod shortly after the game is done, opening up a can of worms, because sometimes you just got to do it. So, true or false, the refs not calling holding penalties against the Bears players mugging Micah Parsons so often was more nerve-wracking than the Bears offense moving down the field? True or false, Scott?
I mean, I'm going to say false because I didn't notice it.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't even been trying to pay attention to it unless you had mentioned it.
Scott, do you have a flat screen high def TV?
I do, 65 inches.
And you still couldn't see it. Oh, well, that's okay.
No,
it happens quickly.
I wasn't paying attention. It didn't bother me as much as the offense moving. That 83-yard drive, that is more important to me, that the Packers could not stop an 83-yard drive that late in the game. That was making me very, very nervous.
Right.
That wasn't, these missed holding calls was not necessarily directly impacting the score. Sure, it may have prevented them from being able to get down there, maybe, but the defense running out of gas and keeping them from and not stopping them from getting in the end zone made me more upset.
Well, and I understand that, and that's fair enough. I mean, you could go either way with this. I'm going to go with true, because the score would have been even more in the Packers' favor, because the Bears would not have been able to have moved down the field if Micah Parsons wasn't being held so badly. So combining the votes, Facebook and X, 85% went with true, that the Micah Parsons muggings have got to stop, and 15% went with false. They were with you, Scott. They were being realist. Like, it's pretty frustrating letting the Bears go down. So get points. So there we have it.
We did have some comments in the poll in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook group. First off, Garrett Stritzel said the refs were truly horrible in this game. Dan Dollar agreed and said the officiating has gotten worse ever since, quote, Big Brother in New York has entered the chat. I feel like the officials in the field are just calling it in now that they know someone else is actually making the final call. And Aaron Peterson also joined in and said, if I had a nickel for every time we blamed the refs. He's not wrong, Wayne. He's not wrong.
I have not been mentioning the refs hardly at all, but this game was egregious. And I just think it boils down to the fact that if we're paying people to be officials, to officiate a game, they should do the dang job and call the game evenly and fairly, whether it's the unsportsmanlike conduct thing that was not started by Keyshawn Nixon, or it's all these holding penalties. that should be called against the Bears and other teams that are just mugging Micah Parsons. So if you've got people being paid to do the job, do the job.
I've been saying for years, you guys know that I love video games. I have another podcast called The Gaming Outsider.
How long have you been? You up to 3 episodes?
3 episodes?
No, you've been doing it a while.
We are recording episode 576 tonight, Wayne.
Wow.
It's been a while. No, but I've been saying for years that how there's Madden, there's even a video game called Head Coach. There's, esports simulators. There's all these simulator games. I don't know why somebody has not made a game that is referee simulator.
Oh my!
And have somebody like calling plays, and then you get graded at the end of it to see how well you did. I think that would be a fascinating experience. But
I like the idea.
Yeah, and then we can all see how easy it actually is, and even not do it where you're watching it from the view that we are seeing it. You know what I mean? Where we're seeing it from this bird's eye view kind of thing.
Right.
Put yourself in, the camera view from the perspective of that referee on the field and have to call that play. You have to follow the pass. You have to look for the pass interference, all this kind of stuff. I think that would be pretty rad, a really cool idea, but
I like it. Maybe you could work out something with Kurt Benkert, because between the two of you, I think this could come to fruition.
Well, then you could do some multiplayer stuff too, because you could have like you and your buddies all on the officiating team and seeing it from different angles, and then you have to come together and talk about it. And well, what do you think about that? I thought this, and then you make the call together, and it would be really cool. I think that would be fun.
Let's do it. Yeah. Another comment on the poll: Royal X Storm on X says the refs in their pockets all game and a gassed defense, and Caleb Williams still can't play quarterback. Skull emoji, fire emoji. Thank you, everybody, for your comments, your feedback, and your votes. Please join us in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community. Be part of the conversations. Again, that's at packerscommunity.com, especially for our live game chat sections. We got them every week. And this week, Packers at Broncos. This is going to be interesting. Could it be a Super Bowl preview? We will find out, obviously, in a couple months.
Moving on to listener feedback, be part of the PFP. We want your insights after watching the game against the Broncos, but also please include your Wager a Fun score guess for the Week 16 Packers at Bears rematch. Let your voice be heard by either doing one of the two following. First, record your voice, attach it to an email, and send it to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. Or you can call the PFP voicemail at +1 920 3PAC-GO. For this one, please send in your feedback before 12 noon Central time on Monday. Thank you so much, and go Pack Go.
Hey guys, it's Jay from California. How's it going? Wow, that was a great game. Exciting as can be. I'm comfortable though, because we were ahead most of the time, so wasn't so worried that we were going to lose. I had a confidence that we were going to find a way to win. Boy, Reed coming back is fantastic. He really makes a difference, gives us more options. Watson's settling in and comfortable. And the first half, we just kind of took a while to get going. So did they, but finally started scoring like a madman. Man, that was really good. And I thought, well, second half, we get the ball, we'll come right back out and score. And then we come out and we don't score. So I thought, man, but Bears adjusted well and they started scoring. But once we got going in the second half, man, we just tore it up with those passes and Jacobs running like a madman. That and then Nixon, gets us in trouble early and then comes back and catches the winning interception. That was fantastic. Boy, Bears fans all over just shaking their heads, I'm sure. And it's kind of fun. It's really hard not to call my Bears friends and just rub it in, but I know how they feel, so I'll leave them alone for a day. Anyway, what a great win. Looking forward to the podcast. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go indeed. Thanks, Jay. Really appreciate the comments. There's something that somebody told me years ago. I feel like I've said it on the show before, but I can't remember. And this is exactly why I never go rub it in Bears fans' faces when we beat them. And that phrase is win with grace, lose with dignity. And that's just always stuck with me. Win with grace, lose with dignity. So I'm not going to rub it in their face. And when I lose, I'm not going to make a big stink about it. It's all good fun. Now, there are some fans and stuff that we have a good time with. But this time, I didn't say anything. just out of principle, because I cannot tell my own students, man, third grade students were trash talking me on Friday before the weekend came about how the Bears were going to win. I had a former student message me on Facebook saying, "You ready to watch the Bears beat down the Packers on Sunday?" And then
Wow.
I didn't even see that comment until another former student who is a Packers fan commented and said, "How'd that turn out for you, man?" You know what I mean, it was really funny. So yeah, I don't do the rubbing it in anymore, because I know at some point we're going to lose a game, and it just really doesn't feel too good. So,
well, since this was just the first of two meetings, especially under such a short span of time,
yeah,
I could see laying low, especially where you live. But if we beat the Bears again on the rematch in 2 weeks, it's on. Trash talking is on.
Here's the thing, man. We're 2 wins away from sweeping the division. That would just be so freaking sweet.
Yes, it would.
You know, even if we don't make it to the Super Bowl, don't win the Super Bowl, which I hope, fingers crossed, I hope we do. But that happens, I feel like that guy in Love Actually, that's enough. It's enough.
Well said. I like what Jay said as well about, Keyshawn Nixon being the one who redeemed himself with the dagger at the end of the game with the interception.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Then he made some good points about Reed. We didn't even talk about him. I think that first drive, he had 3 catches just on himself. And we just kind of forget about it because he didn't score. But he has been such a great re-addition to the Green Bay offense. So very, very glad to see Jaden Reed back.
Hey, Wade and Scott, Jared in Colorado calling after this victory against the Chicago Bears. Super pumped going into this game. Just the fact that it was so late in the season. I mean, it's kind of wild that we didn't play the Bears until we did. So that really kind of helped add to the hype going into Bears week. And then couple that with the fact that, as much as I hate to say it, guys, the Bears seem to be the real deal. They seem to have figured it out at quarterback, at head coach, and the pieces around him. And so before I get into anything else, I just got to give mad props to the Chicago Bears. As much as it's been fun to basically be their boogeyman for 3 decades, pretty much. It seems like the rivalry is actually a rivalry again, which is fun and makes for just 2 weeks from now a lot more interesting at Schultz Soldier Field when we play them again. But all in all, man, you want to talk about a tale of two halves? The Packers, completely dominated that first half. And then the second half, the Bears, I will say, the Bears they seem to have made some all the halftime adjustments they needed to. What was weird about this game, though, is I don't know wrong. I was definitely on the edge of my seat the whole second half. But there's a part of me in the back of my mind that just felt like Packers got this. It was just, I think it was because the offense was able to will its way down the field. When the Bears scored, they answered right back, which we saw last week against the Lions. And you feel like the defense was going to make a stop. Obviously that super long sustained drive that the Bears had, was 17 plays or something crazy like that. That was frustrating because, I think I said offense, the defense. The defense was just on the field for that one Bears drive, and so they gassed themselves, which was super, super frustrating to see. Hopefully you don't see that repeat, but that's just kind of how these divisional games pan out sometimes, especially considering, like I mentioned, the Bears seem to be the real deal for the first time in a long time. So, yeah, other than that, awesome to see our wide receiver core healthy. Christian Watson, man, he is just a difference maker on that field. I think he's better than he was before he got injured at the end of last season. So Jaden Reed was back. That was, again, another big difference maker there. The one thing that it's the what if in my head is man, what if Tucker Kraft was still healthy? Because it just seems like the Packers, knock on wood, but they seem to have, on the offensive side of the ball, seem to have figured out those problems where they just, that about a month and a half ago where they just couldn't get anything going. So definitely want to see that continue. Want to see the defense really to keep up what they're doing, other than just, don't let those long drives, get yourselves off the field. That was probably the big difference maker for the Bears in the second half. If that drive was, even if it was half as long as it was, I don't think the Bears would have been as much of a problem in the second half. But Anyways, love the game. Love the win. We're on to the Broncos next, and I will be at that game, which I'm super pumped about. Can't wait for that. It's going to be a real test against this Packers team. I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, this Broncos defense is scary. Like, it is truly scary. I mean, I think the top three defenses that get talked about league wide are Houston, and this is in no particular order, but Houston, Denver, and frankly our defense as well are the three that get talked about the most. I want to say, honestly, guys, I would venture to argue, even though the Houston defense is scary, I think Denver defense is probably the best, one of the best, if not the best in the league. It could be a huge test. I can tell you right now, and I don't know if Scott will touch on this in his keys to a victory, but I think a big part of that is Jordan Love getting the ball out of his hands quickly. Our offensive line has definitely improved over these last few weeks, but there's still some frustrating holes there, and the Denver defense is the type of defense that'll feast on that if Jordan Love's holding onto the ball too long. But yeah, so let's see what happens, man. They're coming to Denver. I'll be there. If anyone in the PFP community is flying out or going to be at the game, hit me up. I'll be doing some tailgating. My brother's flying in from out of state, which is going to be a lot of fun. And one last thing, guys. I tried something new over Thanksgiving last week, and I tried it again today. So last week in this week's game, I let my son. I held up a couple jerseys of mine in front of him and had him pick which jersey I should wear that for game day. And just gonna say, we won both those games. So I'm gonna keep that going. I'm gonna keep having my son pick my jersey. He didn't do it. He didn't pick the same one as last week. But if he just keeps picking the same one, so be it. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. All right. Greeting cold to dead and cold. Love you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Love you too, Jared. Thank you so much for the voice message. So many great things to unpack there. Jared thinks the Bears might be the real deal, so that makes the rivalry really a rivalry. Super excited that Jared's going to be at that game against the Broncos this week. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. I obviously went to the game a couple weeks ago. My brother went to the game yesterday, this week. He picked a hell of a game to go to. I've actually toured, Mile High Stadium, so I've been there, but obviously did not get to see a game there. It's a really cool stadium, and yeah, he lives a lot closer, so he's not going to have to fly like I would have to. As far as the Bears being the real deal, I think even one of the announcers for this game said it wasn't Tom Brady. It's sad that I have to refer to this, but the guy that wasn't Tom Brady, because I can't remember his name. I don't remember the announcer's name. The other announcer, I'm sorry, it's hard to take your eyes off Tom Brady, man. He's just a gift from the gods. He's just a beautiful man.
Wow.
Anyway,
what did this other guy say?
He said that this is the first time that both the Packers and the Bears have been contenders at the same time in a long time. Usually it's like, the Packers are going to walk all over the Bears again, or the Bears got lucky this game. No, they're both neck and neck in the division, half a game out from each other. And it was just, that's why they flexed the game. They knew it was going to be a big deal, and thank goodness they did.
And I did hear Tom Brady say something along the lines of, wow, how does Caleb Williams keep getting away? And I'm thinking, are you not seeing Micah Parsons being held so severely? That's how he's getting away. But Jared, such a great message. And yes, we are very thankful for the healthy wide receiver core currently in place. But I agree, you still have to wonder, what if Tucker Kraft could be healthy at the same time as all of this? Oh,
I'm with you, but also got to give kudos to Musgrave. He's really doing a hell of a job.
He is. He sure is.
He's made, there was one he made, I want to say it was in the second drive, where he caught one and they ruled it incomplete. It was a crazy catch, and I was all on board the Musgrave, bandwagon again. It was a difficult one. I don't fault him for not being able to reel that one in because it was tough. But man, I was like, he doesn't get enough credit because of Tucker Kraft. You know what I mean? He's doing a solid job in his wake.
And Musgrave actually had a lot more control of that ball, and it touched a lot less grass than a couple other passes I saw throughout the day that were ruled complete. But whatever. And I love, Jared, your story about letting your young son pick the jersey to wear for the game. And so far, over the past 2 weeks, victory both times. So, hey, roll with it, right?
Whatever works, man. Whatever works.
Go, 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 Pack, go! Welcome back, Jaden Reed. Boy, did he really came through in big ways, despite his limited snap count. And Christian Watson once again showing up. I think this might be his best season yet. And, thankfully it worked out for the Packers because, we didn't know whether or not he was even going to be coming back. It's just great to have a lot of good players, and everything just seems to be kind of falling into place. The supporting cast really showed up in the big moments. Bo Melton for that huge 45-yard catch. Musgraves made 2 critical catches on third down, and he also made another huge play, another catch that somehow, again, I don't know what a catch is anymore because that, by all angles that they showed on TV, I think that was a catch. Yes, it touched the ground, but it's allowed to touch the ground if it's in control. And to me, it looked like it was under control, and I think the announcers said as much as well. But I tell you what, Caleb Williams is a slippery little sucker. We only had 1 sack against him, but he was hit 6 different times, and would have been a lot more if the refs weren't playing games on their mobile devices or whatever else they were looking at, because they clearly didn't have their eyes on the game from all the missed holds on Micah Parsons. Like I just mentioned, that catch, not a catch, whatever. And to put a bow on it, that phantom personal foul on Keyshawn Nixon, Luther Burden had his hands on his neck, and the only thing he did was swat his hand away, and that's a personal foul. That doesn't make any sense at all. Despite all that, though, they rose above all that nonsense and back on the top of the NFC North, baby. I really liked how Matt LaFleur, rose above all the noise and drama when he was asked about Ben Johnson's comments about really enjoying beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. But, looking at the Bears, and I hate to say this, I know, Wayne, you're not going to like this a whole lot, but the Bears are legitimate. They're no longer the doormat of the NFC North. But, at the end of the day, it's kind of more fun to watch now that it's not such a lopsided matchup like it has been over the past decade or so. But hey, at the end of the day, just win, baby. What's up next? It's the Broncos, of course. I'm really shocked as staunch and as good as the Broncos are. They've only lost 2 games this season so far, if I'm not mistaken. And we're still going into their house at 1.5-point favorites. I expect to see a lot of rotation, especially along the offensive and defensive line, or mostly on the defense probably, just because of the elevation. And I'm sure Jared Mitchell-Kirk could probably attest to that. I've been to Denver a couple of times, and if you're just walking around, it's not bad. But if you start doing a lot of physical activity, it gets you get short of breath for sure, and especially when it's going to be cold out there. I'm expecting to see. We're already seeing a lot of rotation along the defensive line, so I expect to see more of that. I also like seeing more players returning from injury. Of course, we just talked about Reed. Hopefully, Marshawn Lloyd gets activated possibly this week. Matthew Golden and Wicks, they had limited participation in this game. I'm still waiting for Golden's touchdown. That would have been awesome to be against the Bears to get his first touchdown. Van Ness hopefully will be back soon. I think it's going to take him a little bit longer to get back because I think last week he was spotted in a walking boot. But at the end of the day, here we are coming up for Packers Broncos week, and I'm picking a lower scoring game. Green Bay 24 and Broncos 20. Also, good luck to all you PFP fantasy football managers out there. We got Sir Troy in the lead in first place at 11-2. Myself 9-4. Packer Backer 68 9-4. Anaheim Browns 8-5. Green Bay Parsons at 6-6, and Love That Green and Gold at 5-7. I think those are the teams that are probably going to be in the playoffs. Unfortunately, our own hosts, Wayne and Scott, didn't make the cut. But you know what? It's okay because I got one thing left to say.
The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The
Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. They really, 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 really suck. Go, 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 heck, go.
Whoa.
Go Pack, go indeed, Dan. Great to hear from you as always. Thanks so much. Do appreciate it. I was also surprised to see that we were favored in Denver against a team that's only lost twice this entire season. That kind of blew my mind. It must just be because the Packers are hot right now, and I'm hoping that carries on. Yeah, I'm tired of talking about officiating. It was crazy. There was a bunch of stuff, but I just more want to highlight what he said about the Packers just rising above it. You know, despite this stuff happening, they were able to win the game the way that they need to by outplaying and being out coaching the other team. I think that was more important. And I don't want to talk about fantasy football.
Well, man, my team is in shambles. Every week it looks like I'm going to win. I'm going to make it, and I'm on the cusp. But like Dan said, probably not going to make the playoffs.
You want to hear something? This isn't even our league, Wayne, but in my other league, I have literally the most points in the entire league than anybody else. Most points. I am not making the playoffs in that league.
How's that possible?
Because the two of my highest scoring games, I happen to be playing the one team that week that's beat me by like 5 yards. 2 weeks in a row that happened, and it's just insane. Now, thankfully, that league is actually paying out the highest scoring players, so I'm still going to win some money.
Sweet,
but not going to make the playoffs. It's just insane to me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the message, Dan, and agreed. Hopefully Marshawn Lloyd can return this week, and maybe Lucas Van Ness relatively soon. All hands on deck. And Golden, how about a touchdown in the Mile High City for Matthew Golden?
Please. Just one.
So let's take a look at that, because your 9-3-1 Green Bay Packers are going to Denver to go up against the unbelievably 11-2 Denver Broncos. Sunday, December 14th, again, 3:25 p.m. Central Time. The Broncos lead this series all time with 8 wins, 7 losses, and 1 tie. So it is imperative the Packers win this game and bring the all-time series into balance, okay? And it all started with a 34-13 Packers win on September 26th, 1971. This was just one day after my favorite Australian rules football team, although I wasn't watching it back then, the Hawthorn Hawks, came from behind in the fourth quarter to win the Australian rules football championship in Melbourne before a crowd of over 118,000 people. That's crazy. Now, in the 70s and 80s, the closest the Packers came to beating the Broncos was a 17-17 tie, but we all know how the Packers were in much of the 70s and 80s. So, with so few games played between these two teams, the only memorable game that jumps out at me was, unfortunately, a bad memory. Packers lost to the Broncos in the Super Bowl, January of 98. And it hurt extra bad because after Brett Favre and the Packers beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl the year before, I was massively overconfident that we would easily win this next Super Bowl and make it 2 in a row, which made the loss to John Elway even more crushing.
I remember that game vividly, Wayne, because we had won the game the year before, right? And for personal reasons, that game stands out because I had a massive crush on a girl I went to school with in high school that year. And she came over to watch the game with me and my family, and I was on cloud 9 trying to pay attention to the game, and all I wanted to do was impress this girl. And then the bad news happened, and so that stands out to me. But actually, I have another pretty memorable one, Wayne.
Okay.
Back on October 29th, 2007, on Monday Night Football, the game went into overtime when Denver tied the game with a field goal in the closing minutes of regulation. And on the very next play in overtime, the very first play of overtime, Brett Favre threw an 82-yard touchdown pass to Greg Jennings to secure the win with a score of 19-13. Now, that sounds weird. That's because the overtime rules were a lot different back then. It was just whoever scored first. And Green Bay scored first on that first play, and it was game over. No extra point, no nothing. 19-13. What a way to end a Monday night.
So it took a few years, but Brett Favre and the Packers finally got their revenge of sorts on the Broncos. That's a good one. Now, Dan mentioned it was going to be cold in Denver, but it's not. We're having kind of a heat wave out here in the West. The weather at kickoff in Mile High, Denver, Colorado in December is forecast as of today to be 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 degrees Celsius. And after playing at Green Bay the other day with 16 degrees, this is shorts weather for sure.
Yeah, serious, literally for shorts weather, 60 degrees, absolutely. I was kind of confused when he said it was going to be cold. I was like, isn't this in Denver? I was like,
it's supposed to be cold, but we're having a heat wave out here. I mean, where I live, that's 77 degrees every day this week before winter returns. So whether it's going to be cold or warm or whatever, what are the Packers going to do to beat the 11-2 Denver Broncos? Scott, do you have keys with you?
I do. First off, key number one is going to be win the turnover battle. Both teams are relatively strong defensively, but winning the turnover margin is often the deciding factor in close games, and I think this will be a close game. Packers currently have a favorable turnover differential, +4, while the Broncos are negative. They got -3. The offense needs to prioritize ball security, especially considering the pressure that they're going to face. The defense needs to be aggressive in forcing fumbles and capitalizing on tipped passes or errant throws from Bo Nix, who has thrown 9 interceptions this season thus far. So look for those opportunities. Strategy number 2, contain the Broncos pass rush and protect Jordan Love. The Denver Broncos defense is statistically one of the best in the league at getting to the quarterback, leading the league in sacks. 51 sacks, Wayne.
In one season?
50 in one season.
Okay.
No joke. Players like Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper are significant threats. The Packers' offensive line, even with some reported injuries, have to be disciplined. If you remember, they got 2 rookies on that line because of injuries. They should prioritize quick passes, incorporate Jacobs into protection and quick releases, and use play action to slow down the rushers. Lastly, establish and win the ground game with Josh Jacobs. The Broncos have shown that they can control games by dominating time of possession, even though a strong rushing attack is seen in their recent win over the Raiders. The Packers need to counter this by dictating their own tempo. They should focus on consistently getting Jacobs 20 or more carries, even against a solid Denver run defense, convert on short yardage, and set up manageable third downs. If you remember, they've been pretty solid on third down, much more consistent on third down. I used to dread third down because it was always that way, but they've been solid. So get those manageable third downs. It should be a piece of cake. There you have it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott Clark. I like it. I love it. And I want more of it. In fact, let's not even get to third downs. Let's just first down, second down, first. Hey, then we don't have to worry about it. But these are great keys. I can see it coming together. And Denver does have a strong fan base, but I do think we're going to have quite a fair amount of Packers fans in the stands.
I think so as well.
And just knowing that Jared and his brother going to be there, and Jared's going to be wearing the jersey that his son picks out, victory, right?
Absolutely. All right, it is time for our update on our 2025 season wager of fun. Here were our predictions from last week. I predicted Green Bay was going to win 27-21. That was a differential of just 1 point, Wayne.
Wow, Scott, well done.
1 point. Wayne, not to be outdone, got the Green Bay score exactly right, 28, and he predicted Chicago 18. That was unfortunately a differential of 3. That was a solid guess there, Wayne.
You can't even win with a differential of 3 anymore.
I know, it's crazy. So once again, Mr. Clark prevails. Over on the PFP listener side, we had a tie. Both Dan Dyler and David Newman had differentials of 3 as well. So it was a pretty solid week here for everybody. Great job to our listeners. So here's the standings. Wayne, you've got 4 wins. I have 4 wins, and we've got 2 ties in there as well. It is a tight race. Did you think I was going to come back from a 4-0 deficit?
No, to be quite frank, no. I was ready to salt it away.
You're ready to order that kilt for me, because it's getting there. It's coming. As for the listener leaders, Jay Walter still is in the lead with 3 wins. Wasn't sure what to do with the tie, so I gave Dan Dyler 2.5 wins. He got a half win. I don't know if I should give him 3 or not because he tied with David Newman this week. David Hawkins, Brett Connor, and Thomas Carlson are tied in third, each with a win. And then David Newman on the board with a half a win as well. I'm not sure if I should do that as a full win or a half win, but there you have it.
I think the half win is the proper way to go. That's you did good. I like it.
All right. This week, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I think both defenses are solid, and it's going to be a defensive struggle. It's going to be one of those, the last team to get possession is going to win kind of situations. I'm going to say Green Bay 23, Denver 20.
Solid. Very solid, Scott. I think it's going to be even lower scoring than that. Green Bay is going to win. It's going to be another nail biter. Green Bay 22, Denver 19.
All right, and let's see what the Packers fans podcast listeners pick for Week 16. Jay Walter says Green Bay 37, Denver 27. Green Bay 31, Denver 27. Garrett Stritzel says Green Bay 30, Denver 24. Thomas Carlson says Green Bay 24, Denver 13. And Dan Dyler says Green Bay 24, Denver 20. That is a very close prediction to my prediction. Just saying.
Indeed. Well done, and good luck, everybody. The NFC North, we know the Packers are 9-3-1. Bears are second place, 9-4. Lions are 8-5. The Vikings are 5-8. These numbers could change a lot because throughout the rest of the season, of course, we're going to play Frisco, Chicago, Baltimore, and Minnesota. The Bears have kind of a rough go. Well, not this week, really, against the Browns, but they did beat us. Then they play us again. Then the Bears go to Frisco and wrap up playing Detroit. That could be kind of tough. The Lions, they have to play the Rams, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, the Vikings and the Bears. And the Vikings, they got a tough road to hoe. They put a fork in them. They're playing at Dallas, at the Giants, and then they play Detroit and Green Bay. So with us being number 2 currently in the NFC, we may end up going to L.A. to face the Rams in the playoffs. So we may potentially have to go up against Devontae Adams in the playoffs. And then if things work out just right, we could then go up against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
Could you imagine? Man, that would be absolutely insane. One quick correction, though. I think you said we played the Niners. Isn't that supposed to be? We don't play the Niners.
Oh, you're right.
This season, dude.
Broncos.
That's Denver.
Broncos.
Yeah. Just want to clarify.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. And the storylines are going to be epic no matter how it comes out. Anything else jump out, Jeff, from the NFL this past weekend?
Oh, man, that Bengals-Bills game. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that one. Holy cow, what a game that was. Joe Burrow played fantastically until the third quarter. It looked like Cincinnati was just going to run away with this game. Then the Buffalo defense intercepted Burrow on back-to-back plays. Intercepted him.
Yep.
Next, he had intercepted him again. And then Josh Allen capitalized and put the Bills ahead 2 scores to close out the game. It was just a lot of fun to watch. Seriously, I just can't get over Josh Allen. He's inching a little bit closer towards Tom Brady's status at this point. It's just insane what he's been doing. Like if he's not your number 1 draft pick, it's just kind of crazy.
And last week he broke Cam Newton's record, I believe, for the most rushing touchdowns all time by a quarterback. And Josh Allen ain't done with that yet. What really stood out to me this weekend, besides that fabulous game, was the Steelers beating the Ravens in Baltimore. Vintage Aaron Rodgers ran in for a touchdown, brought back his classic discount double check celebration, and then Coach Tomlin did it himself. And it's just good to see some fun times happening on the Steelers sideline this week. I'm also thankful that all the bye weeks are done for the year. Scott, can I get an amen?
Amen. Hallelujah. Now that fantasy's over. Yeah, great. Awesome. Also, my other podcast, I mentioned it earlier, The Gaming Outsider has a new episode out this week, and we're talking about our plans for retirement when it comes to gaming. I also played the new Metroid game from Nintendo. It's awesome. It released this past week. You can hear my show at the same places you listen to this one, and you can find more information on our website, thegamingoutsider.com. I really hope that you guys give it a shot.
At thegamingoutsider.com, right? Thank you, as always, for supporting the show at PackersFanPodcast.com/giveback. We've got Go Pack Goes going out to Mr. J. Walters. Oh, and a thank you for your Bart Star level patronage. And Dan Dyler, your Jordan Love level support also warrants thanks, and Go Pack Goes.
Go Pack Go, and thank you to our Brett Favre level patrons, Megan, Miguel Ramirez, and Scott Boers. Also sending thanks and Go Pack Goes to the PFP Lambo level patrons, Brett Connor, Joe Christensen, Hank Davis, who also has a podcast called Podcast Gear News. If you too are interested in joining in, check out the details at PackersFanPodcast.com/giveback.
And a reminder, the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. So the best thing you can do is tell even more of your friends about the Packers Fan Podcast. Tell the person bagging your groceries about it when you're buying your stuff. Getting an oil change, say, hey, have you heard about the show Buying for Fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers?
Did you know we have a QR code, Wayne? You actually made it for us, so of course you know about it. I took that sucker with me to Lambeau, and I was showing it to everybody. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at PackersFanPod. My personal handle is at GoCastScott. Also, if you'd like to follow the Gaming Outsider, it is at the GoCast, and Wayne's handle is at Wayne Henderson. And now, joining our Packers in spirit on their trip out west to Denver, here's PFP community members Joe Christensen, Andre in LA, Megan, and Dan Dollar with their Go Pack Go outro.
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go, 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 Pack Go!